Hey, Redneck. Where the heck you been, man?
You wouldn't believe me if I told you. Well, I'm gonna tell you. I'll tell you. But you ain't gonna believe me.
So what happened?
So there I was, driving back on my tractor late at night. Just got from delivering some hay in the other field. That's when it all began. It was dark out. I was blinded by a bright light and a loud noise and saw an object streaking across the sky. I found it where it hit the ground in the field next door. It was still hot to the touch when I found it. I was puzzled over what this may be as a black ooze was coming out. Using all my scientification, I analyzed it. The best of my abilities, the tools I had at hand. But I kept hearing something in the woods behind me creeping, moving around. And then it was on me. It was on me like Laura Lee on a pound cake. It was awful. I fought it the best I could, but I didn't make it. Next thing I know, I was laying there and it gotten inside of me.
Hold up. I don't know if you're saying something attacked you during the night and then went inside of you.
Will you just let me finish? I ain't felt that bad since I smoked the devil's lettuce. But I could feel the power coming up within. But I tried to fight it, but I finally lost consciousness.
Redneck, this story's even crazy for you, man. I don't know if I can believe this at all.
Holy crap! Oh yeah, man, I'm Redneck Venom.
So what the heck you gonna do about it?
Heck, I ain't doing nothing about it. Venom loves beer. I don't even have to get up and change my wrestling channel anymore. He can reach beer from the refrigerator all in the other room. Redneck loves Venom.
Alright guys, I hope y'all enjoyed watching that as much as I enjoyed making it. That was a lot of fun. I had a lot of fun making that silly video. But I got a lot more educational stuff coming up on how to make this muscle arm, or more importantly, how to make muscle suits in general. So stay tuned. I hope you enjoy it. All right, guys, so I'm traveling this week, so hence the new location. So I'm actually in a hotel right now, but we want to get started on this build so I can get it done, film everything we want to film, and get it out to you. So I've been asked to do a video on making my muscle suit. The muscle suit I made for the Venom Stormtrooper, just oversized, huge muscles. You can buy some suits online, but they're relatively expensive, but they're also relatively easy to build. So I don't have the stuff to make a whole muscle suit, but I have an idea of what I wanted to make for kind of a nifty cosplay. I have a certain technique. I think it may actually take 2 videos to do this. Hopefully not, but I do have a certain technique I like to do this in. And, take an old t-shirt, put it on my duct tape mannequin, get some good anatomy pictures or some, muscle builder pictures, and I basically kind of sketch on where I want the muscles to be on the suit. And then we're going to trim these out of insulation foam. Okay, first, just to help get some a little better, closer look of what I'm doing here. So we got your biceps, triceps, pointed out, the 3 big muscles of the shoulder there, the kind of how they break up. We got this sketched down, and what I'm doing is just kind of holding up a piece of newspaper up here, kind of getting a rough shape of what I drew on there. And we're going to just make some templates, and so that way I don't waste foam, so I can kind of trim it up and get kind of the right size. And then the really messy part is when we start trimming up these muscles to make them kind of rounded and smooth, flattened out. So now that we've got a few of these things cut out and base templates, we're going to trace them over to this 2-inch thick upholstery foam. And what we're going to do is I'm just going to use this long knife. I actually got this. This is from an upholstery foam cutting place. And so this lets me kind of just rough in a shape, but you can use scissors, Persona blades, just a regular long box cutter knife like we normally use. This one just has a little serrated edge on it, so it kind of makes it easy to kind of rough in the shape real quick. So it'll just slice through kind of vertically like so. So I'm going to cut these out and then the fun part starts. So this is the fun part, and it's actually a really tedious part. I'm kind of acting like it's fun just so that I can get through it. But this is where we trim all those nice little round shapes like this. We trim them down and round off the edges so they're more, I guess, muscle shaped. And they don't have to be like perfectly smooth, because there's one last step to this that after we glue all these on, that I'll show you, that smooths all this out and makes it look good. So just kind of get them roughed into nice shape. And so when we do our last phases, this will all smooth out. So most of the time I just go around, we trim up some of the excess. I'm using these big scissors because it gives me a little bit more leverage, but any pair of scissors will work. But kind of get your bottom edge, because this is going to be your bottom edge that's going to glue on this side right here. And this is going to be the top edge that you're going to be kind of rounding off. And so this, when it's all said and done, this will set here. And then, you know, the deltoid muscle, I mean the bicep muscle will be in here like so. So, you know, I have these things. And so you want all these to kind of round down into each other. So you want to round off these top edges where all these muscles go together. So I'm used to my new environment, so I'm having a little trouble getting my camera angle right. So, all right, so we're gonna just trim this down and make a big mess in the hotel. That I'm gonna be picking up bits of foam forever. Now, one other tool I mentioned was the Persona blades. And so Persona blades are like super sharp. I guess they're used for hair cutting and stuff. You can buy them on Amazon. I'll see if I can find a link and put it in a video. But they will cut foam really good. So you can cut through foam really well with them. They're not quite long enough to make it all the way through 2-inch foam, but some of the thinner stuff, man, it's just, this is all you need. And you can just kind of shave along. This blows, yeah, the blades get dull pretty quick, but you can see, you know, how it just shaves it off and cuts it pretty easily. So I do use this sometimes too, but on this big bulk stuff, just a good pair of scissors and a, you know, rough end knife is pretty much all you need. So I like to use ProStick 65. It's a high strength spray adhesive. It actually comes out in little ribbons. When it's sprayed right, you can adjust the how much glue's coming out. You just shake the thing well, and you spray both sides of the upholstery foam, both the upholstery foam and the t-shirt behind me. We're going to spray both sides and then give it a minute or so, and then we can stick it together, okay? It's a good coat. You want to make sure you get a really good coat on there. All right, so you can already see where this is getting tacky, pulling off on my hand. So we're going to let some of that solvent evaporate out. This is pretty impressive stuff, so we're going to just straighten things up and then just follow our lines and stick it on. But there you go, you kind of see how that goes on. So we're just going to keep building that up in layers. We're going to trim down this bicep here, put a tricep on. We got a brachioradialis muscle that'll come down through here, and then we'll just build up the forearm. The forearm will be a little less dramatic, just kind of some tubular muscles in there. But I'm going to also have the upper trapezius muscle coming down here, so that'll give a little bulk on this top side also. Guys, so you see how I'm doing this process. I'm just rounding off all the muscle shapes, gluing them onto the shirt for security. And as I glue more of the muscles on, everything gets more and more stable. And at this point, you can try it on, make sure things bend in the right direction, make sure it fits you well, and then we'll go on to our next step. All right, so here we have the rough, hypertrophic muscular arm sculpt. Hey guys, I'm back home. Yay! My 1/4 inch foam came in. We've got all our muscles put on. So it's time to start skinning this thing. We're going to use our ProStick 65 as our adhesive. We'll spray both sides and then we'll stick this on, making sure we get it all down into the creases and the seams, and that'll give it that nice skin texture and smooth all this stuff out and make it look more realistic. So I want to make sure I get a real good coating on this all down into these seams so the foam will stick when I get it down in there. We're going to try to do this outside first and then either stretch the arms apart and then get to the inside because it's a little hard to reach. Alright, so once I start sticking this on here, it's going to stick pretty quick. So we're just going to kind of make sure we got the basic place tacked on. And then we're going to kind of work our way in and work all these muscle groups down. We may have to trim and bunch it up some, but sometimes a little crease and a fold just adds more to it. Makes it even look more realistic. Need to kind of pinch two pieces together, just kind of seal them up real tight and pinch them together, and then you can carve it off later. Just kind of keep that crease where you want it. So I want to have some big veins right in here, so we're going to kind of let that kind of pinch up a little bit as we push that together. Guys, now that we got this foam on here, you can see that it's a lot more supportive of itself, more sturdy. Trying to get good light on this so you can kind of see the muscle tone, but if you're looking from the front pec here, the bicep, and the lower forearm. So now we've got to clean up this little inside edge, this inside seam here. And what works great for that is a thing called a persona blade. A persona blade, you can buy those. They're very sharp, like extremely sharp little razors that you can buy to help trim foam. You can get them on Amazon. I like the ones for hair cutting, not for shaving, because they're longer. So I'll try to find them and put a link in the video below. But these things are so sharp that once you get your foam secured down, which I'm going to trim some of this farther back, but you can see like where I've got this bump here. Man, the light's terrible. I think we can see this. It's white on white, makes it kind of difficult to see. But as you've got this little seam right here, this persona blade will literally just shave this foam down. It is so sharp that you can just trim that down and get that nice smooth edge. And so we're just going to kind of work our way down the foam here Just keep carving it down. And you just, like of anything, if your blade gets dull, you want to change it. And that's why I don't care if it overlaps any, because I can just trim it up. So we're going to keep working our way down the foam, trimming all this excess off. And it doesn't have to be totally perfect. One thing is this is going to be underneath my arm, but the other thing is I try to get it pretty smooth. But the other aspect of it is you're going to be putting a coat of latex on it. And most likely I'm going to do a coat of spandex and then latex, just because that makes it stronger, and I want to be able to use this more than just once. So I don't want to tear it, rip it. I mean, it's got the clothing underneath it and it should be pretty good, but I want it to last a little bit longer. So another cool thing about these Persona blades is that you can bend them a little bit if you need to get into a crease or a corner. But I'm just going to flex that. Muscle arm. So the hand's left like this because I need to make a hand. So I'm left some extra down there for that. So real arm, muscle arm, real arm, muscle arm. I got some big arms, but I ain't got them that big. All right, so after rough sculpting foam onto my glove to kind of get the rough shape, I went ahead and put a 1/8 inch skim of upholstery foam to smooth all that out. So now what we're doing after we got all these fingers and stuff made of the monster hand, I'm trimming up these edges and stuff to smooth all this stuff back out again. So again, we just, I didn't show every bit of it, but I've been working on this. Had to get in a more comfortable spot, but just thin coat of upholstery foam over the entire hand, and we were using just a glove, and you can still see bits of the glove through here, but this way it's one solid piece when I stick it on, and I just thickened everything up so it matches the size of my monster arm. So So now I'm going to go in with some hot glue and put some vasculature there that wasn't already there. I'm using Monster Maker's RD407 latex. It's a brushable latex. This is black, or otherwise called bat black. I think it was originally designed for Batman cows. So it makes a good dark color. So I'm going to use that, and it's going to take multiple coats. When I did the spandex coating here before, you know, usually like one coating was enough to kind of even everything out. And it looked really good on the spandex, but spandex is kind of hard to seam in some of these little creases, and sometimes it's harder to get into areas. So I want to avoid it on these fingers, really. I think I'll lose some detail there. Plus, this lets me put the vasculature on and then paint strictly on. So I expect it'll take 3 or 4 coats to get this the way I want it to look. I did want to go over a few things that I've realized as I've done this that is different from my prior builds. And one thing we talked about early in the video is that I skipped the spandex step. Whereas, you know, after we skin it with foam, then we put a skin of, we put the skin of foam on there, the 1/4 inch foam after we build the muscles. And then that softens everything out. And then normally at that point, I would skin with spandex on top of that. Just a high quality spandex. If you're doing superhero, I would use like a flesh color. But for Venom in the past, I used the black spandex and just glued it on with the spray adhesive, the same stuff we did before. So I didn't do this time because one thing I actually built a hand where sometimes I would just have this muscle suit stop right here. But this time I built a hand because I wanted the hand to be a lot bigger. And so with that, I didn't want to distort the fingers by trying to wrap spandex around them. I didn't want to distort the fingers. So we just went straight with the latex. Now, that's great. I mean, it took a lot more latex. Like I went through 2 quarts of this, whereas normally I would just go through 1 quart and not even a whole quart if I'd done the spandex for a full suit. So because it goes on, you're just putting like one little thin coat on top of the spandex just to smooth it all out. The foam soaks up a lot of it. And so, but it left us like great detail. I mean, like, you can see all the vessels, the muscles there. I mean, the hand detail, everything looks really good. And so, but with that, it's kind of rigid because it's so many coats. It's not like super flexible as flexible it was when it was just foam and spandex. So in the past, but I mean, for me, it's great. This one arm, I was all I need. I wanted something that looked really good. And you can see, I mean, just the detail and stuff in that thing, how good it looks. And so, but if I was doing a whole suit, I wouldn't want to put 4 coats of latex over top of it because I wouldn't be able to move. So in the future, I would do, like if I was doing a full suit and that was something, especially if it's going to be covered with clothing, I would skip the latex altogether. Or just do the areas of the joints and stuff like that that actually are exposed, I feel like we're pretty much there. So really the last step is to paint with this Monster Maker's Perma Wet. And, I mean, this latex has a good shine to it. It's really not super, but it does stay a little sticky. Like it's not sticky, but I guess it's got a little grip to it. So it wants to pick up dust and particles and stuff like that. And so over time, it does start to dull down. And the Perma Wet kind of takes away that that tackiness. So we're going to do a little coat of Perma Wet over everything, and wrap this bad boy up. Whew. All right, guys, that was one heck of a video. If you like this video, please like and subscribe so I can continue to make great content. I'm not sponsored by anybody. This is just me having fun. If you have anything you want to see how to build, how to make, please add it in some comments because I just enjoy doing this. So anyhow, thanks so much, guys, for watching. Y'all have a great day.